Welcome back to another fly tying tutorial with True Fly Supply. Today we're going to take a look at how to tie the Ostrich Herl Scud that came in this month's box. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our hook, but in order to, this is kind of a trick that I do anyways that kind of helps me with this fly, is I put it in the vise at a little bit of an angle because it kind of helps me manage everything towards the end there. And you'll see what I mean. And you want that angle coming upwards because the scud hook kind of curves downwards, and at the end you have the tendency to knock your thread off quite a bit. So that's how I like to get it started. Go ahead and get your thread started. Work your way to the back of the hook here, just like that. Trim off the excess. Throw that down. And so basically a scud is essentially a freshwater shrimp. So it's got feelers, if you will, in the back as well as the front. So we're going to take about 4 strands of our pheasant tail here. If I can go ahead and get it. There we go. Make sure the fibers are all lined up when you do this. You know what? I don't like that piece. We're gonna go with a different set here. I just wasn't liking how those were lining up. And sometimes it'd be like that, you know? Sometimes you just don't like how they line up, and you just got to get some new ones. So anyways, here we go. We're just gonna tie this in. Go ahead and start with a few loose wraps, work your way in. And now because this is a shrimp, we get to tie this all the way down into the bend of the hook to make those fibers go downwards, just like so. And when you're tying in your materials, just don't trim off the excess a little bit too soon, because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build up the body. Alright, so bring that all the way over to the end here. You're going to grab your wire, your brassy wire. Again, a few turns, get it locked in. And I like to bring this down the side of my flies typically, just because I don't want a big lump on top or on bottom, but that's just a personal preference. Alright, then our next material here is going to be our Ostrich Herl. Actually, no, it's going to be, sorry, I misspoke. It's going to be we got this material. It's the body stretch that came in the pack. We're going to get about 2 inches of that or so. This is one of those materials that you think you're going to need a lot more of than you really do, and I'll show you why here in a second. And now with this stuff, it is imperative that you get this on the top of the on the very middle of the hook. Whoops. So what I typically do is get it started with a few loose thread wraps here. Get everything kind of lined up, and then I seat it in. Now as you're tying this in, go ahead and pull back and kind of stretch it out and make it thin. But again, you want to make sure, whoops, sometimes that happens too, but you know what? It's okay. We're just gonna put everything back in the vise because that wasn't a complete disaster. Look at that. Now we're rocking and rolling again. Alright. So perfect, we got that in there. And then the last material that we're going to put in for the back half of this is the Ostrich Herl. This guy. Let's go ahead and take one plume off of there. Now it doesn't matter which way you tie this in at, just that we do it all the way down the body again, just like last time. Alright, so I got a little bit of a stem here I'm going to trim off. And don't worry about any of the fibers that aren't trapped underneath the thread, because that is essentially what is going to really help this fly work out. So bring your thread all the way back up one more time until about right there. Now the thing I was talking about with the feelers or the antenna earlier is that this fly has them both on the front and the back. So we're going to grab, again, about 4 strands or so. That one didn't peel off very well. This is one of those fly tying videos that's a bit of a struggle, I guess, for me today. Alright, perfect. Perfect. Look at that. We're just going to tie them in right at the front of the fly. Just like that. And this is where this fly kind of starts to get bulky and tricky real quick, so just take your time. Let's go ahead and move all of my materials out of the way. So now basically what you're going to do is you're going to take this ostrich herl, just like hackle or anything, and you're going to actually wrap it, you're going to wrap it around body of the hook here. I know this is really exciting, guys. Really exciting. And you're going to go ahead and tie that in just like so. Trim off the excess. Again, don't worry too much about crazy fibers and stuff like that, because that is actually what is going to give this fly a lot of its character, if you will. So here's a couple things. Like one, you can lay down this stretch, the body stretch over the top of it, and it will push it down. What I like to do is lick my fingers and pull everything down just like that. That way I know the fibers are being split off to either side rather than just being kind of mashed underneath this. So then once you have that, gently pull on this and seat it in just like you did before. Now this is where angling your hook with the eye upwards is really going to help. Making sure I got my fibers out of the way. I pull this back, give it 2 more. Oh, we'll give it 3 to really lock in that stretch tubing. Now you're going to want to try and cut this off as close as you can, just like that. Look at that, guys. We got our shrimp coming right along. And then lastly, to kind of segment this fly, you're going to take your brassy wire, try and seat that up there a little bit closer. Perfect. We're just going to make nice, even segments throughout the fly, trying our best to split those fibers if you can and not have them get super caught up on the wire. That guy is not wanting to cooperate. There we go. And just like that. And Bob's your uncle. Now go ahead and lock in your wire. Trying to do this and be very mindful of the fibers here to try and not lock them in. There we go. Just like that. Then I usually helicopter off my wire. If that doesn't work, then I take my wire scissors, again, trying to cut it off as close to the thread as possible. And there you go. Look at that guy. Go ahead and take your whip finisher. Throw in a few whip finishes. And there you guys have it. That is your Ostrich Herl Scud. As always, slap in a little bit of head cement just to keep it in place. And there you go. These Scuds are good in olive. I've tied them in brown, tied them in gray. They're really real great tailwater fly, and they should work in a lot of different watersheds for you. So anyways, thanks for stopping by. Check out our fly tying subscription over out on the site at trueflysupply.com. Just hit the subscribe button and it'll show you all of our supply drops, and you can tie tasty little trout treats just like this. Thank you. Have a good day.